Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zobelle, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zobelle.
These words from the Bible and the book of Deuteronomy: be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Amen. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot. Come on, patriots. Call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Thank you very much, Kate Smith, and God bless America on a beautiful Thursday, May 25th. I'm Zobelle, and of course, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I could say you are risen. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing much better, thank you.
Well, you are entirely welcome, and it's a treat to hear your voice on the radio. Now that you've broke the ice, fall through it and call more often.
I'll try to do that.
All right, buddy. Good to hear from you. Thank you. Thank you. Good old Doug right there. I appreciate him. We're going to go to the weather forecast real quick, brought to you by Lennox and, of course, Ramsey Heating and Electric. And they're offering up to a $1,700 rebate on qualifying new home comfort systems from Lennox. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. Here's the weather.
Good morning. It is time now for your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson. Well, looks like we're going to get a little front moving in, but today mostly sunny, a high of 64. Wind still going to be blowing. Could see gusts as high as 26 miles an hour. For tonight, 20% chance of showers, expecting a low of 44. Then for tomorrow, 30% chance of showers, a high of 65. Friday night, chance of showers, then mostly clears. Things tend to clear up. Lows around 42. Saturday going to be sunny and 72. Clear on Saturday night, a low of 45, and absolutely beautiful on Sunday. Looking for sunny and a high of 77. That's your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron. Have a great day.
Oh, my goodness. Does that sound like a fun weekend? I can't wait. Hey, it's time for Merv May to come on in. Let's sell some cattle.
All right. Hey, good set of steer calves there. Here, $31.
Oh, that's the chant of the world's best auctioneer, Merv May, over at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. The number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. Merv May, Cade Rogge, Lance Udy, the sale that works for you. Sale time today at 11 o'clock, and they're going to have 55 head of 550-pound steers coming in from Curtis Taylor over at Oakley, ripping good cattle. Butcher cows from Acme Dairy, Oak Valley Dairy, TLK Dairy, and a good trailer line run of cattle going through the ring today. Sale time at 11 o'clock, and that's at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
Steer calves there, here to get all 31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135.5, selling $1.35. Zobelle, get the bottom again.
Thank you, Merv. Appreciate it. Almost lost your chant there, by golly. I appreciate it. And sale time 11 o'clock today. We have some birthdays that we need to acknowledge right now. And on tomorrow, Friday, Jimmy Flowers. Happy birthday to you, Jimmy Flowers. Tomorrow is birthday. Then on Monday, I will not be on the air Memorial Day. And Mary Scott is going to have a birthday on Monday. Happy birthday to you. There you go. There's our birthdays. We want to say happy birthday and many, many more. Let's also remind you quickly about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. They get there early in the morning and throw the doors open at 7:30 till 5 Monday through Friday for all of your heating and electrical needs. I'm telling you. And warmer temperatures on the way. You're going to need your air conditioner to work efficiently and cool. Check out all the air filters at Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric. And I know. You're hungry like I am. You know, Deanna and I figured out we've had, honestly, and I'm not exaggerating on this, we've had one meal in the last 3 days. One meal. Boy, she can cook. Deanne's a great cook, and last night she sat down and made us a really nice supper. It was fantastic. But we've been on the run, and we've just grabbed a sandwich here or an orange or whatever, and boy, right now I could go to Dennys Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley, and I could just sit down and order one of their out of sight, out of this world breakfast. Oh, that breakfast menu is good. At America's Diner, Dennys Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Nice people, friendly people, knowledgeable people, great food. What else do you need? Dennys Restaurant, America's Diner. Oh, my. We have got a lot of stories to talk about this morning. I don't know if I can get them all in, so I'm going to start with this one first. United States military veterans that live in a kind of a condominium complex. Now, they're not all veterans, but a lot of the buddies from the Army, Navy, United States Air Force, the Marines, etc. They kind of, hey, I'll move down there and we'll live in the same area, etc. In this Homeowners Association. Well, the Homeowners Association changed the rules and the regulations. Now listen carefully. The Homeowners Association said that you, being a resident of this Homeowners Association group, can only fly the United States flag 23 chosen days a year. If you decide you want to try to fly that flag any other time, we will take legal proceedings against you, and possibly, if you're resistant to our rules and regulations, we will have you thrown out of your home. Holy cow! Now, you can imagine this went over like a lead balloon with these veterans. Thank goodness for them. And one of the vets was interviewed, and they said, will you take the flag down? And the vet turned and looked at the camera and said, when I die. And they had a couple of these vets on this morning. And I'll tell you what, both of them have received eviction notices that they're going to be removed if they fly that flag any longer. In America? This is one of the most ridiculously stupid things I've ever heard in my life, because the Homeowners Association said flying the United States flag detracts from the aesthetic values of the condominium unit. Let that soak in. Our United States flag detracts from the aesthetic values of the condominium unit. You know, When I read this story, I thought I'm going to try to reach one of these homeowners down there in this condo unit and get them on the air, because I say to the veterans, fly that flag. And if need be, stand by the door with a gun. And don't let anybody change or alter the flying of that flag. This homeowners association altered the rules and regulations. And I'm asking for total defiance from our veterans. Don't do anything but fly that flag. Caller, I'll be right with you. I tell you what, thank you for your patience. Stay with me a minute. I got to tell everybody about Burley, Berry Equipment and Rental, and sales, service, and parts, South Lincoln and Jerome, and Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They do. This is simply put, but it's a fact. They have all the equipment to get the job done right. All the Bobcat excavators, new and used excavators, all shapes and sizes, and they're incredibly helpful over at Berry Equipment and Rental, and they can help you learn how to run one in a jiffy out in their big sandbox. All the equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, and Berry Equipment and Rental people. Nice people. 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Berry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning.
Well, good morning, Mr. Bell.
Hi there.
I am totally behind you on those veterans. How dare these people tell us when we can fly our flags and when we can't? This is, the last time I checked it, this is America, the land of the free because of the brave. Who are these people?
I don't know, but I will say this, and Donna, I get accused of so many things on this program, so I'm going to throw the accusatory people out there another bone this morning. I would stand at my door, and when one of these losers from the Homeowners Association came to my door, I would say, you have 30 seconds to state why you're here, and then at 31 seconds, I'm going to throw you off my porch.
Oh, I'd be right there. They wouldn't probably get seconds on my doorstep. Thinking about the flags and all the protests that we have against our first year spent, and the hero, in my opinion, was late for us last week. And if you remember right, the veterans put up a flagpole in his yard for him.
Yes.
George, Adam, James Wardle, Todd McGee. And a few, 2 or 3 juveniles decided he didn't need to fly that flag, and they stole it.
Oh, my.
He pulled his gun out of his closet and sat and waited for them to reappear. He was so angry. That was his flag. He fought for that. We, our brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, they have all fought for that flag to be flown with pride.
I was very honored to be asked to speak at Russell Smith's funeral service, and you and your husband and all the veterans that lined the cemetery driveway with all the red, white, and blue flags in Russell's honor, because that was his life. That was his allegiance to this country of flying and saluting that flag daily. And it brought tears to my eyes, and it was absolutely beautiful.
Yes, it was. And you know what, Zeb, I need to take a minute, if you don't mind, and promote our program coming up.
Yeah, real quick, go ahead.
The 3rd Annual Idaho Roll Call Memorial Ride on the 27th. And they need to be at Let's Ride on the highway. I can't remember the time. I think it's 9.
The ride starts at 9:30.
Exams are up at 9:30.
Right.
There's going to be a program afterwards. Dan Hendricks is going to sing. It's the public is welcome to support the fallen soldiers. This is memorializing. That's what Memorial Day is all about. Is honoring our fallen heroes.
Right.
The Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association 13.5 Veterans Memorial Incorporated, and the City of Rupert is putting this on. We're going to have our cook shacks up there, or our cook shack. We just have one. and we're going to be doing pulled pork, and if we run into that, we'll be doing hamburgers. Let's everybody, take 1 second or a couple of minutes of your day this weekend to give thanks and remember our fallen.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Donna, and you and George have done so much. Thank you for calling in this morning, your kind thoughts, and everybody tried to be there Saturday. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and one more thing. Let's everybody remember this is graduation weekend. Let's watch out for our graduates.
Yeah.
We don't need any deaths on the highways. This is a bad weekend for everybody.
I agree. Be careful out there. Donna, thank you so much.
You bet.
All right.
Have a great day, my friend.
All right. Thank you very much. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Yep, they can help you get back to being you. That's not brag. That's a fact. I mean, whether you've had a broken bone, an accident, a sprain, a strain, whatever, they can help. They've got that hydrotherapy pool over there. Oh, I have been in there many times, and they know all the exercises, all the great physical therapists. It's the place you need to go. 678-1191, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. You call them today. Really nice people. Hey, I know somebody else that's got some jobs available, and they are looking for good people to give them a call, and that, of course, is our friends at Ag Express. Yep, they're looking for drivers. All you have to do is call Dale and Paul at 438-8886, Allen in Twin Falls, 731-2495, Russ in Burley at 431-7175. They're looking for full and part-time positions. Retired folks are welcome to apply, and they'll work around your schedule 2 or 3 days a week. That's right, home every night. You're going to enjoy working for them. Ag Express. You give them a call today. Vacation schedules, benefit programs. Ag Express is looking for drivers. Ag Express is looking for you. What would you do? What would you do if you moved into a homeowners association and they changed the rules, and they came to your door and said, well, now, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, you can't fly the flag except on here. We're going to give you the dates where you can do anything outside on your porch or anything or fly a flag, and you can only do it on these dates. Thank you. Have a nice day. I would take that little list of dates, and I would rip it into tiny pieces, stuff it in their pocket, and tell them never to return to my porch again. If they do, bodily injury might ensue. I'll fly the flag any doggone time I want to in honor of this country and in honor of our veterans. Caller, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. I fly a flag at my house 24/7. And at my business, I put a flag out every morning when I get here, and take it down in the evening when I leave.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, I don't care how big they are or who they are. The person that comes up and tells me I cannot do that, first off, better have some identification on them so we can notify the next of kin.
Doug, what you said is exactly my feelings, because I went back to, remember the old A-Team TV series? Remember that? And, of course, Mr. T, he always would look at the camera and say, I pity the fool. Well, I'll tell you what, I pity the fool that would ever tell me to take down the American flag.
Exactly. I don't know what these people are thinking, that they're so elite that they can dictate what free Americans can do.
Yeah. And let's go a step backward, though. Go one step backward in this story. If they sign on to a homeowners association and the veterans would have known beforehand that they could not fly their flag whenever they wanted to, they probably wouldn't have moved in there. But the homeowners association, according to the story that was sent to me and also was on Fox News this morning, changed the rules in midstream and handed out a pamphlet that said only on 23 certain days a year. And that's where my ire would be raised and their little covenants would be ripped to shreds.
Exactly. I'd say, well, there's 23, and then there's 340 some more we're going to add to that.
Yeah.
And that's when it's going to fly. And if you guys don't like it, come try and take it down.
Amen. Amen. That's the spirit that needs. Oh, the liberals out there, they're going, oh, well, we can't have any violence. How dare you adhere to violence on your program? I'll tell you what, you try to take down my flag, there'll be violence, all right. And I will not be the one in a horizontal position.
Exactly. We do not go to the liberals and tell them not to do something. We don't go to them and tell them, oh, this speaker can't speak here because we don't agree with his, how he thinks and what he says. So they preach tolerance, but they're the most intolerant group of people I know.
Yeah, well, whoa, stop the bus. Did you read this morning's Times News?
No, sir, I don't get it.
Get a copy of it today. Have somebody go get it for you, whatever. On the op-ed page, I think the Times News has hit another new low. They got a hold of a lady by the name of Terry Pickens Manweiler, a business and real estate attorney in Boise, and the headline is this: An Idahoan's Guide to the Resistance. And the 3-column story is all about how the Democrats and her and others should go against Donald Trump and his administration in a resistant attitude. Oh, boy, that's a combined America, isn't it, Dougie?
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah. I mean, we did not like Obama's policies and what he was trying to do to America, but we stood up and voiced our opinion, but we did not go against, to try to take him down. I mean, we tried to stop his agenda.
She makes in this.
Politicians took the impeachment deal off the floor the very first day he was sworn in.
Yeah, she makes some of the most absurd statements, and I'm going to just go to the point of saying, Terry Pickens Manweiler, you're not a very smart woman. Listen to this paragraph, second paragraph in the story, and then I've got another call waiting. On November 9th, I woke up in a fog of anxiety, tears, and fear. Almost daily, some new reports surface to incite anxiety, some new cabinet pick, some new policy to take away women's rights, some new tweet demonizing our free press. Oh, Dougie, I felt so sorry for her.
I just got to laugh at her. My God. Well, that's what the colleges are teaching them nowadays.
Yeah, this is another insane liberal left loon, and that's how I'm going to categorize this woman.
Well, I'll let you go, but I got to thank everybody for all your prayers. I come through it with flying colors, and I was told I am cancer-free.
Well, that is great.
So anyway, I want to thank in the cards, that one that you sent. I had a sore belly, and I started to laugh, and it hurt even worse. So.
Probably a card that you don't want to recite over the air either.
Exactly. I just want to thank everybody.
All right. God bless you, man. Got to run. Thanks.
Hey,
all right. Caller number 2. I promise I'm coming. I'm hurrying. Please bear with me. Don't forget Redder's Showcase, 2611 Overland and Burley, with their annual Memorial Day sale going on now. Holy cow, great buys. And they're on Serta mattresses and box springs up to 12 months, same as cash on approved credit. You better get in there today. Don't put it off. They're at 2611 Overland Avenue in Burley. Redder's Showcase annual Memorial Day sale. You get in there now. Also, real quickly, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Oh, my goodness, with the Dr. Christine Pickup right across from the Minidoka Hospital emergency room. And if you're developing some shortage of hearing or limited hearing, you'd better get in there. She can and will help you. Yes, Dr. Christine Pickup. And it might be medicine-related. It might be disease-related. All kinds of reasons. And there is help there. Please call Mount Harrison Audiology at 312-0957. Caller, thank you for your patience. Good morning.
Good morning, Ted. Doug makes me want to feel like I need to fix my alternator when there isn't anything wrong with it, because I'm so glad to hear he's okay.
Well, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. But about this HOA, we're so fortunate to live in this area where we don't have these dumb things. Now, there's the HOA, which is a homeowners association, and then there is another thing like they're opening up a new subdivision, and they haven't even built the homes yet or anything. They have what they call covenants.
Yeah.
And covenants, I think, are important. Like they insist on so many square feet. You can only have 2 stories. Just a whole bunch of things like that make sense. But HOAs don't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Now, would you have to give up buying a home because you would not join their coming outfit? Or, it's freedom. I don't know. We just don't have it.
Well, and the thing is, going into a homeowners association, you should sit down, I would think, with your spouse and an attorney or someone and go over the covenants and the rules and regulations that are laid out and defined, so you know before you sign any papers what kind of nimrods you're working with. But after you've signed and they change the rules and the covenants, then I think I would stand at the door, like I said earlier, and say, you want to take down my flag? Well, here, welcome to a Broken Nose Society.
I feel the same way you do. It just infuriates me to think that a few people, and this is not the association you're talking about. This is the executive committee of that association.
Yeah.
They're making all the decisions.
Yeah, and in this day and age,
we vote for a senator, you can't talk to each and every one of us. Each and every one of us don't have a say.
In this day and age,
we voted him in so that he would vote our will.
Right.
And that's the way the homeowners association is. So many of the people who live there don't even know what's going on, and if they did, they don't have anything to say about it.
There you go.
It's not something they vote on. It's something they dream up.
Well, Keith, wait a minute. Just give me a break to break in here. I agree with what you're saying, but I think everybody's got to be very careful when they move anywhere into confined living, if you will, and read the covenants and know the rules and regulations. But I'll tell you what, if I was moving into one of those areas and somebody told me after the fact that I couldn't fly my United States flag, they would have to bring a SWAT team in to get me out of there. And I'll tell you what, these veterans are going to really fight back, and they should. Thank you for your call. You and Nancy have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, and see you later.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, more calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems up to $1,700. You better call them today, 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, saving you money. Absolutely. And I'll bet you this group is really busy today. No kidding, because we're real close to Memorial Day weekend, and I would just imagine that K&R Rental, oh my goodness, they probably got the doors open this morning, and they're saying, holy smokes, look at all these people getting ready for the weekend, all kinds of fix-em-up projects, and maybe doing some lawn care and lawn changing as far as the outdoor appeal is concerned. Well, you need tools and equipment, they've got it at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Number to call, 678-3122. They opened at 7 o'clock in the morning till 5:30, Saturdays 7 to 2, and they've been in business since 1979. They've got all the experience, all the tools at K&R Rental. You stop in and see them today. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. 68% of the Democrats in this country that were polled believe that President Trump should now, underline the word now, be impeached. 68% of the Democrats believe that President Trump should be impeached. Then I would interject and say, Why? For what? And how? The Democrats are absolutely... I don't have much use for people that just spin their wheels in the sand, wasting time, wasting effort, and not doing anything that contributes to the betterment or the success of any situation. So, I will come out and say the Democrats are those time wasters spinning their wheels, and they're not contributing a doggone thing for the betterment of America. Nothing. And I honestly believe they have destroyed their party. I could be dead wrong. At the midterms, we'll see what happens. But the Democrats, by spinning their wheels and being a party of no or do nothing, I think they're absolutely going to destroy their party. And quite frankly, I hope they do. I do not have time for people that are always no, 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 or people that are acting like a Che Guevara or somebody that absolutely wants to be a leader of a resistance, or like a terrorist, like this stupid, idiotic, so-called attorney in Boise, Terry Pickens Manweiler, An Idahoan's Guide to the Resistance. Why not An Idahoan's Guide to Working Together to try to solve problems and make America great again? But not the Democrats. She had a 3-column story of absurdities and silliness in the paper. And listen to some of these comments, please. Donald Trump's first message to this country came as executive orders. First, do away with the Affordable Care Act. Wait a minute, she doesn't mention anything about the reparation of the Affordable Care Act to make it better and work better for the American public. And then she goes on to say, next, to build the wall. And then a real whopper, the illegal Muslim travel ban. Listen, sweetheart, I know this is hard for you to understand because of your liberalness, but this world has a real problem right now. Look at Manchester, England. Look at the threats after the bombing the other evening. Look at the Muslim problems that have been created because of their Islamic jihad. And don't sit there and say the illegal Muslim travel ban. We've got to know who these people are. I am so sick of you Democrats sitting there going, wah, 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 we don't like this. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Earl. My hearing is getting awful bad, but I've been watching the actions of what's going on within our country, and this morning it finally dawned on me. It's like watching kids fight over a security blanket. That make any sense?
It does. It really does, because right now the Democrats can't accept that they got their butts kicked out of Congress and the Senate for leadership, and then also the Oval Office. They're not adult enough to realize that they lost because they didn't have a platform. They're not smart enough to realize they better put together a platform, and I hope they continue to lose.
Well, they're not smart enough either to go out on their own.
That's true. That's true. You know, Earl.
All right, I'll leave you alone.
Well, you never bother us, Earl. I always look forward to hearing from you. God bless you up on the mountaintop. Take care of yourself.
And you too. Welcome anytime.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very nice man right there. Thank you. You know, really, come up with some ideas to make America better. Better. But this idiocy and absurdity and ridiculousness of Idahoan's Guide to the Resistance. And then here's some other great quotes out of this really dumb article. Now we learn that the president met privately with the Russians in the Oval Office. Gee, that happens 24/7, 365 in the White House. Allowed them to take photos and video footage while he bragged about his great intel and leaked highly classified information to our foreign adversary. How does she know all this? What great specter of light hit her in the forehead and said, this is what happened? And then she says the president has threatened the free press. Well, to be honest there, Sunshine Lady, the Free Press has done a terrible job of trying to be journalistic and fair and balanced, and they've been totally negative against this administration, more so than any other presidential administration in the nation's history. But Terry Pickens Manweiler isn't smart enough to understand that. And then she said the former acting attorney general, the former director of the FBI, Democrats in the House and Senate, along with a few members of the Republican Party, and he's made everybody, just about everyone else who challenges him, an enemy. You know, those are added words to it, but I need to paraphrase that just a little bit. Well, you know what? This president hasn't done anything illegal with any of those activities. He had the right to fire anybody he wants to. He had the right to really criticize people for what's not being done and tried to goad them into getting it done. And when she says just about every person who challenges him, you know, that's fine. Obama did the same thing. But the left, they've got a real short-term memory. Whoop! Yeah, they forgot what Obama did or didn't do. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. If you're in the horse business, I'll tell you what, I know where there's going to be some excellent horses for sale on June 3rd. That's going to be up at the J.J. Quarter Horses production sale June 3rd at Sugar City, Idaho. Oh, boy, they're going to have a dandy sale. It's going to be Saturday, June 3rd, under the big white tent in the Jed Jacobs Arena in Sugar City. Rope horses, all kinds of really class working horses with top quarter horse bloodlines. I mean, this is a ripping good sale. Jed Jacobs, 390-4144 for more information. They're selling over 40 head of really good horses, from babies to finished rope and broke ranch horses, and also Jade Stoddard at 308-3885. JJ Quarter Horses production sale June 3rd, Sugar City. Don't you miss it. I guarantee you, he's got some good horses up there. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You're not going to believe this. I got a story here. I saw this last night, and I had my lovely bride, Deanne, follow up on this story. We talk on occasion of all the mindless twits of the millennial generation that are going to school to be nothing more than trained activists. Well, Adam Carolla, a comedian and podcaster, and radio host Dennis Prager, they have been filming a film called No Safe Spaces about the political correctness at universities and how it's completely getting out of hand. Completely getting out of hand. And the movie, this No Safe Spaces, shows how absolutely devoid of any common sense or patriotism most college kids are in the vein today. They are afloat in a sea of nothingness, and quite frankly, they're not smart enough to swim to shore. The whole reason for this film is to really show how, and I'll read the comment by Dennis Prager. This is a story that must be told because the future of our country literally depends on what happens on these college campuses. If these students don't understand the very concept of free speech, our whole nation is in trouble. And I'm going to try to get a copy of this No Safe Spaces, and then try to get Adam Carolla or Dennis Prager on our phone line. And unbelievable what's going on college campuses. They're just absolutely being force-fed all this liberal garbage. They're buying into it. They're not trying to go to college or university for a successful career with the talents God gave them. All they are is just like sponges, absorbing all this left liberal democratic filth, and they're doing nothing. Nothing. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Weather forecast brought to you by Riverview Urgent Care. Caller, I'll be with you in a minute. Give me 60 seconds. Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 382 North Overland and Burley. Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East. And Twin Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. They're open 7 days a week. The doctor will see you now, not in 4 or 5 days. Hey, they're great for all of life's unknown emergencies. Riverview, Twin Falls, and Jerome Urgent Care. Here's Scotty with the weather.
Good morning. It is time now for your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson. Well, looks like we're going to get a little front moving in, but today mostly sunny, a high of 64. Wind still going to be blowing. Could see gusts as high as 26 miles an hour. For tonight, 20% chance of showers, expecting a low of 44. Then for tomorrow, 30% chance of showers, a high of 65. Friday night, chance of showers, then mostly clears. Things tend to clear off. Lows around 42. Saturday going to be sunny and 72. Clear on Saturday night, a low of 45, and absolutely beautiful on Sunday. Looking for sunny and a high of 77. That's your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron. Have a great day.
Thank you, Scotty. Appreciate it. Brought to you by the Urgent Cares. Kyle James and his great, efficient staffs serving you. Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care, Twin Falls, and Jerome Urgent Care in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. Caller, I appreciate your patience. God bless you. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. You know, there was always this one saying that I never forgot, and especially I've heard it after World War II. During the wars, our people, our young men, were heroes. After that, after the wars are over, they suddenly became bums. And this is one phrase I've heard I don't know how many times when I was a young kid. What these people don't understand, the ones that want to dispossess our veterans for the flags, how many of our veterans are in wheelchairs today that are providing the freedom for people that are on this board, putting our veterans, basically put them out in the streets. So what I would do if I was a veterans organization, I would get together and see if we could sue these people for a breach of contract.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with anything more than what you just said, and you stated it so well. I mean, you got to fight fire with fire, and sometimes enough of the turning the cheek, go after them like a hawk after a mouse, and get them and nail them and really show them that they better keep their mouths shut.
I lost two of my good friends that I palled around with in Korea. One was in the Marines and he was killed. The other one was killed launching aircraft out of from an aircraft carrier. And anytime I hear something like this, it just boils my blood.
You know, Tony, I'll tell you what I think. And I'm going to be very blunt here. And if somebody's offended, that's their problem, not mine. I went to Russell Smith's funeral last week. I was asked to speak at the funeral. But you know something that just absolutely made me start sobbing with tears as I sat there and watched the flag being folded and handed to family members. I think it should be mandatory for all these anti-American, young and even middle-aged people that want to take the flag down and not see the flag waving in the breeze. They should attend a military funeral. They should stand there. They should witness the sadness and the sorrow and what has been given up for this country and watch and talk to the family members. And I'll bet you they would turn their heads, walk away, and not create problems against our flag in the future.
These anti-Americans have no idea what these foreigners have got planned for America, especially the ones that are here. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are. They're just waiting for the word from their big leaders over there in the Middle East to start attacking us internally and really letting us have it. And the only thing that's going to be maybe solve the problem is some of these liberals are starting to spill their own blood.
I am adamant that if it happened that we were issued dictates that we can only fly the flag on certain dates, I don't know about you, but they better come with handcuffs, because I'm leaving that flag right where it is.
Yeah, we've got a lot of veterans on my street, so somebody might walk away with a couple of lumps on their head.
Okay, Tony, God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. No, I just think that it should be mandatory for some of these sick, perverted millennials that condemn and damn our country, that condemn our flag, that condemn our history, condemn those that have given their life for them to stand and act stupid. They should be mandatory that they should attend one of those military funerals. I just absolutely was so moved, and I've been to many of them, unfortunately. I've been to many military funerals, and I was so moved, even like last week, with all those flags waving in the breeze and the sun peeking out from behind the clouds. And the military, with their absolute professionalism, folding that flag and handing it to the relatives. Thank you for the service to our country. While others, living like fat cats, do nothing but demean and denigrate our flag. Damn them. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Doing the right thing matters. All your tires, pickup and SUV tires, and of course the passenger car tires, horse trailer tires, boat trailer tires. You need tires. There's only, the Les Schwab Tire Centers have all the tires you need and the best in professional service. I mean, they know tires. They know what's best for your driving conditions. They've got the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. And I'll go back to the word service. They really take care of you. I have never been treated better than at the Les Schwab Tire Centers. Anywhere, anytime. They are the best. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Leaks and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, good morning.
Yeah, Zeb, there's so many young people or even people, that are our age that would never feel any sense of shame. And it's something that I...
Hold your phone still. Randy, wait a minute. Hold your phone really still. Hold your phone still.
My wife she's taking off. Okay, I've got to get on with it here. So, I don't want to waste your time, but see, we think that they're going to feel a sense of purpose, a sense of shame, a sense of patriotism. They don't, it says in the scriptures, I don't know if this is a, actual quote, but there's no natural affection. There's no natural love. They know not what we know. They feel not.
I agree with you, but I'll tell you what, when it comes to our country, our flag, our heritage, our history, our culture, our Constitution, it's about doggone time we stood up and said enough is enough and pushed back on these people, told them to go sit in the corner and just shut up.
Well, this is the thing. It's just like Bill Ayers, he's teaching in our colleges, at one, at the university. But you see, across this nation, people that couldn't make it in the real world go and teach at the college.
Yeah.
And, or they run for public office. And it's true. And so, you see, what we're out here working, and the smartest people I know are the business people I do business with. And the people that where the rubber meets the road. It's not these people that we hear on TV, pundits, the professors, the elected officials, they decide they decide what's up for us.
Yeah.
And then we have to go out and do our job at the election.
Well, I got to interrupt you because I'm almost ready to go to the news, but I want to say that I appreciate your remarks, and it's really true. I'm not turning the other cheek for anybody ever again. Thanks, Randy.
Hey, you're not turning the other cheek like that guy, the congressman up in Montana?
You know what? I'll tell you real quick about that congressman in Montana. The liberal left media can denigrate him for what he did, but this bozo journalist busted into the office, interrupted a private meeting, and I'd have thrown the son of a gun on the floor myself.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if Montana, where they are. I'd like to think they're like us, but sometimes they elect some weird people up there, and I don't know what the hell they're thinking, but it's going to be interesting to see after he did this what happened.
I agree with you. I got to run. News next from CBS. We're going to be back in about 7 minutes. Got a full hour next hour. Don't miss a minute of it. Zeb at the Ranch. Wheels, take it away. Okay, here we go. Hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Western Waste Services with so many services for you and your family. I mean, whether it's a dumpster, fill it up, they'll bring it out, fill it up, and then they'll come get it. Or maybe getting on the route service to get your garbage picked up weekly. Or maybe the porta potties for your party. Or maybe the Go Minis, storage units. Hey, I'll tell you what, all of this and so much more. They're loyal to the community and people that they serve. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Western Waste Services. Want to remind you, too, about our dear, dear friends over at Hanson Mortuary with Joel Heward, his staff, and his family, and very flexible hours. Flexible hours to serve you. And family attention, and they really can travel to the rural towns and churches to help you with all the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one. Always, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Don't forget the number, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, serving you. Oh, those are good folks. And I also want to remind you, too, very, very serious time right now for your dogs and your puppies because it is vaccination time for the deadly, highly contagious viral infection known as parvovirus. And I urge you to call Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street in Heyburn, 678-1177, and talk to Dr. Bill, Dr. Liz, the staff about that parvovirus vaccination for your dogs and puppies. Don't put it off. You call them today, 678-1177, Ark Animal Hospital. They have warm hearts for cold noses. Good morning over to the Minnetonka Chamber of Commerce. I believe I'm taking a stab in the dark. It's Kyla this morning.
Hi, good morning, Zeb. How are you this morning?
I am peachy. How are you?
I'm good. I think I'm like everybody else. We are just ready for the weekend and hoping that the weather is going to stay nice for all of us this weekend.
Absolutely. Well, what's cooking over at the Chamber this morning?
Well, we have lots going on over here at the Chamber, but I think the most important thing we want to talk and emphasize today is just that obviously it's Memorial Day weekend, and so a lot of folks are celebrating by taking some time off, and they're going to have Monday off. Most places are going to be closed that are involved with the government entities, so just a reminder for that. But there's a very important event that is happening on Saturday in Rupert, and that is the 3rd annual Roll Call Memorial Ride and Program to honor our veterans, and everyone is welcome. If you're a motorcycle enthusiast and you want to go for the ride, they meet at 9 o'clock over at Let's Ride on the Rupert Highway, and then they will leave for their ride at approximately very sharp, actually, 9:30 a.m. to 7th and Scott Streets in Rupert, right along the historic square. And then they're going to have food vendors, and there's refreshments available and all sorts of things happening out there at the Rupert Square. And then the program itself begins at 1 p.m. at the Idaho Roll Call Monument on the square. And it's just going to be a wonderful event. I really encourage people to bring their families. You know, take some time this weekend to honor the reason we're having the holiday.
You know, Kyla, I would like to make one correction. It's not going to be on the square for the Monument Celebration and Memorial Program. It will be at 7th and Scott Streets in Rupert.
Oh, okay, thank you. I had the Idaho Roll Call Monument on the square, so just basically 7th and Scott Streets in Rupert.
Right.
You can definitely do that. So thank you, Zeb. No, thanks. And so if you want more details, George Mass, he's the man, isn't he? I
Yes.
mean, he is the man.
Yes.
So I would call him at 208-650-0104 for details. George recently helped us out, Zeb, in a very big way over here at the Chamber, and I just want to give a shout-out to him. We're not sure what happened, but our flag a few weeks ago was just found on the ground over here, and it looked like we're not sure if the wind... What's that?
I didn't say anything. I'm listening because it makes me mad to think that somebody might take the flag down.
Well, we're not sure if the rope broke in the wind or if someone may have appeared to have climbed the flagpole over here that we have in our circle. But we're very grateful to the city of Heyburn. They found the flag and everything. And then George came over, and he has rigged us up with a brand-new flag as well as a stronger cable and the rope that takes the flag up there. And he helped repair the cleat at the bottom because that had been broken off and a few other things. So we're just really excited to have a brand-new flag and you know, showing our stars and stripes.
Absolutely. A good man and his wife, Donna, super nice people. What else is quickly going on at the Chamber of Commerce right now?
Well, let's see. We're obviously got the visitor center open. We have been very busy, so we're looking forward to seeing lots of travelers coming through for the weekend. And then I just want to give a quick shout-out to the folks out at City of Rock's National Reserve Visitor Center in Almo. This entire weekend, they have got all sorts of events going on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. They've got special hikes that you can only take with the rangers up there. They've got all sorts of events. And so we just encourage you to give them a call, 824-5916. I don't have time to run through every single thing they're doing out there. But gosh, what a great, you know, trip to just drive out to Almo. It's about an hour away from here. Enjoy some of the, you know, the beauty out there and the scenery, and take part in some of the activities with the family and friends.
Absolutely. You do a wonderful job. Everybody over there at the Chamber, nice people. Why don't you tell us all the 972 ways they can get a hold of the Chamber of Commerce?
679-4793 is our telephone number, and also check out the events calendar yourself. You can get on at minnecasia.chamber.com. That's going to be the best two ways to reach us.
You have a very safe, sane, and memorable Memorial Day weekend. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Seb. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. God bless you. Lovely lady, Kyla, over at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much. Don't forget, our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox have teamed up, and they're offering rebates on qualified home Lennox comfort systems and up to $1,700. You better check it out at Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they can save you money. 678-0459. Don't forget to Rudder Showcase, 2611 Overland Avenue in Burley. What is going on? All the people going over there now for the big annual Memorial Day sale. You don't want to miss it, man. Great buys on the Serta mattresses and box springs. You want a good night's sleep. Lay down and snore, Bunky, because they've got a great sale to help your sleep on Serta mattresses and box springs. 12 months, same as cash on approved credit. Rudder Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. Right now, the annual Memorial Day sale. Don't you miss it. You know, we've got just a moment before we go to Time to Grow with the University of Idaho and Towne McCammon, and I want to remind everybody, too, about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and, of course, employee benefits. All of this and more for your family and your business to be safe. You call them, make an appointment today. They're dedicated and responsive to your needs. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, 436-4424. Right now, it is time to grow. And here with us this morning, the University of Idaho Area Extension horticulturalist from Twin Falls County, Towne McCammon. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. That's quite the intro.
Well, it's a lot to say in a limited time, but my goodness sakes, why don't you at this time and really give a shout-out to the great sponsors of this segment?
You bet. I really want to thank my Master Gardeners, the Southern Idaho Horticulture Program, the Magic Valley Master Gardener Association, as well as the Mini-Cassia Master Gardener Association. And they're doing diagnostic clinics this week, Wednesdays, Thursdays. So please check them out at your local extension office. Also, Monty's Plant Food and Humic Acid. They are sponsoring us. They have some great products in helping our plants grow. And then also Sears in Burley also gave us a sponsorship as well. So we want to thank them. Please go shop there at Sears.
Absolutely. Towne, you wouldn't believe this, but we're starting to get quite a few letters already on the program about you and the program segment, It's Time to Grow. And one of the letters that came in kind of hit me because it absolutely happened to me about maybe 20 years ago. We planted some small, little, itty-bitty, 6-7-inch long pine trees in hopes that they would grow up and be nice and beautiful. And for the longest time, they stayed really puny and sickly looking, and we were almost ready to rip them up and throw them out and try something else. And this gentleman that sent a letter has the same problem right now. And I'm going to give my own unprofessional advice. Hey, hang tough. They may live because ours now are over 30 feet tall and beautiful. What is your advice to this man?
Yeah, hang tough. Transplant shock is something that we call plants that we put in the ground and they just struggle for the first year. And research shows that for every inch caliper tree, a caliper is measured at about waist height on your tree. And so about 3 feet up on the tree, and that's the diameter. So that's what we call a caliper. And so for every inch caliper, it's going to take you roughly 6 months to get that tree established into that area. So now obviously you started with these little 6 or 7 inch seedlings,
yeah,
and those should be established pretty quickly. So there might have been some other things going on there. I am a big advocate for making sure we plant correctly from the very beginning. And so that's something I wanted to talk a little bit about today is how to plant trees properly. If you ever look at a tree that's bare root, that means that there's no soil around the base of the plant as you're getting ready to plant it. You'll see a topmost root. In horticulture, we call that the basal root. And that basal root does not like to be buried deep into the soil. In fact, it likes to be about a quarter of an inch above grade, above soil grade. That's going to help you get off to the right start. Whenever in anything you're planting, trees or shrubs, you want to try to get that basal root a quarter of an inch above grade.
Okay. Now, you mentioned about maybe I didn't do it right when I planted those. I absolutely agree with you, but how do we know what to do? I mean, explain that in its entirety about these little bitty seedlings. What do we need to do to watch out for them?
Well, they don't like to be overwatered, and that really depends on the species of tree that you're planting. Evergreens, they don't like to be overwatered, but they also don't like to be extremely in a drought situation. So, watering them once a week would probably be more than sufficient as the trees get a little bit stouter root system, and then you can maybe water a little bit deeper, less often. By the time they are your size of tree, your 30-foot trees, once or twice a year would be more than sufficient.
Okay.
Because now they're harvesting a lot more water over a lot larger area. With these little tiny seedlings that we put in, their root system is very shallow, and they will dry out a lot faster. So we have to keep irrigating them through the summer.
Well, let me ask you this question, Tony. In our case, we looked at those trees for a long, long time, and finally my wife said, they're dead. We got to get them out of the ground. They're a nuisance. They're ugly. Let's just get rid of them. Where do you know, and when do you know, how to dig them up and bury the victim? I mean, what are the telltale signs that it's beyond hope?
Well, I use the fingernail test. Basically, you just go up to a stem, twig, and you just scrape it with your fingernail. And if you see green, you see red. If it doesn't scrape, more than likely it's just dead. And a lot of times, especially with evergreens, if you don't have any life in the cambium, then it is dead material, and it does need to be just cut out. But I always look for green material. If I see green material underneath my fingernail or the mark that I made in the stem, then that means it's still alive, and there's still hope.
Well, I'll tell you what, they are now our pride and joy because they have grown, they have matured, they have blossomed out to the point, like I said, they're 30 feet high, beautiful trees. And so just have a little patience. Isn't that the guideline?
Yeah, it is. Have some patience, and trees don't grow extremely fast, but they will become the highest value in your landscape. When people try to sell their homes, established trees are one of they're worth a lot to people that are looking for homes. And so the best time to plant a tree is today if you didn't plant it 40 years ago. So, just go plant a tree. We just had Arbor Day a couple weeks ago, and we planted some really nice trees here at the museum in Twin Falls. We planted a ginkgo biloba tree, which is probably my favorite tree. Whatever killed the dinosaurs, it survived. And it also survived Hiroshima when we dropped the bomb in Japan. It's the only plant that survived in the botanical gardens there in Hiroshima.
Wow.
So it's a pretty stout tree, and it's pretty awesome. It's the only prehistoric tree that's still around.
Do I know?
We planted a sensation box elder maple, very good tree for this area. It's a great substitute for your silver maples, your autumn blaze maples, your sunset maples, any of your red maples. People like to get those maples that turn nice and red in the fall. And they just don't do well here. They do not like our soils. They struggle and struggle and struggle. And so the great substitute is this sensation box elder maple. It was found down in Hell's Canyon by a friend of mine who was floating the river, and he came across a tree that had really red fall color, and he thought, I wonder what that is. And he took some cuttings, and now it's one of the top-selling trees in Idaho and throughout the Northwest. So kind of a cool backstory to it, but also nice orange to red fall color, and it does not produce the seeds that attract the box elder bugs. So even though it's called a box elder sensation maple, it's not a nuisance tree. It's a beautiful shade tree.
I have another lady that has written us a letter, and she is from the Burley area, and she said, and I'm paraphrasing and shortening the letter up, I don't know one tree from another. Does Tony McCammon and the University of Idaho have a book that I can learn what tree is who?
There are some great books out there. I think one of my favorite books, and it was my textbook in college, and I still use it today, is Durr's Hardy Trees and Shrubs. And that's just a fabulous book. Great colored pictures. It talks about each of the plants. It's a great identification book. But if you have some trees that you want identified, you want to know what it is. Maybe you're driving down the road and you're like, hey, that's a really nice tree. I'd like to put one of those in my yard. Take a picture, bring it into the extension offices, and the master gardeners can identify those plants for you. so that you can know what they are and start planting them. But we do have some great tree lists, and I'd be happy to send you our tree list, our recommended Southern Idaho tree list, Zeb, and you can put it on your Facebook page so our listeners can get it. Can get that.
Very good. We've only got time for one more question and a short answer on this. A gentleman wrote in and he says, I know nothing about pruning, and all my neighbors say, well, it's a piece of cake, not a problem, but I'm afraid to cut too much off. What's the key to learning how to prune correctly?
Well, just some really quick, easy steps. First, remember your ABCDs, and A stands for at any time during the year. You can cut out any broken, B, crossing, C, dead or diseased branches, D. So remember your ABCDs. At any time you can prune out broken, crossing, dead or diseased branches. Other than that, usually you try to hold off on your pruning other than in the winter months. That's the best time to do most of your pruning is in the winter months. Structural pruning. And then with that, you never take off more than a third of your tree or your shrub, because that will instigate a lot of excessive growth. That will create very weak wooded branches, and that will increase the likelihood of breakage and other things in a really strong windstorm, because those are weakly connected to the main trunk. That's why we shy away from the topping of trees, and you maybe have heard of that term, the topping of trees, where they just basically cut the limbs and expect it to grow back. But that's usually death to trees. It's kind of a death sentence to a tree. So as far as pruning, if you just stick with the ABCDs and the time of year that you prune and try to stick to that rule of thirds, make some good pruning cuts. That's back. And there are some great things online that you can learn a little bit more about it. But trees are pretty resilient. They actually prefer to be pruned because you're thinning the tree out and you're creating better air circulation, which is going to decrease the chance for bugs and diseases in those trees. So the trees like it, and it's really good, and it's a healthy practice to do every 2 to 3 years. But remember this about pruning. If you haven't pruned the first 10 years of the tree's life, then you've missed out on a lot of really good opportunities to give the tree the best chance to be a century tree. The first 10 years of life in the life of a landscape tree is crucial to making sure you have good structure and development early, so that the tree can last 100 years.
Wow. Hey, Tony, real quick, what are we going to talk about next week on the program?
Well, it sounds like we're getting some good questions, and I think next week it'd be fun to talk about the Dirty Dozen, the top 12 insects that cause us issues in our landscapes and gardens.
Oh, okay. I'd like to talk about that. I got a bunch of doggone bugs over here. I'd like to know what they are. Anyway, we are talking to the University of Idaho Area Extension horticulturalist Tony McCammon. And Tony, run down the list of our sponsors one more time for this segment called It's Time to Grow.
Thank you, Zeb. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Southern Idaho Horticulture Program, the Magic Valley Master Gardener Association, the Minnecasia Master Gardener Association, Monty's Plant Food and Humic Acids, and Sears in Burley.
You know, Tony, you do a wonderful job. I really appreciate you being on the program. I want to wish you, your family, everyone a very happy and safe Memorial Day, and we'll see and hear you next Thursday on the radio.
I always look forward to it, Zeb. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Tony McCammon with the University of Idaho, and he's the horticulturalist and just a doggone good guy. And I'm sure if you call, he'll answer your questions. Hey, don't forget, let's ride 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. You know what? Hey, listen, you want to get outside and just enjoy on Memorial Day? You need to stop in today. Check out all the four-wheelers. Check out all the side-by-sides. rides. The weather's warming up. Check out the watercraft. Holy cow, what are you waiting for? This is the place where the fun is sold. And they've got all the accessories and a great service department. Holy mackerel, get over there today. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Let's ride. Where the fun is sold. Nice people. Also, real quick, I want to remind everyone that Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert, the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Minicash area, and they urge you to call and come over, visit them. They'd love to show you around at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. They make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place, and they've got a wonderful backyard patio, and they hold barbecues, and they make sure the residents get out in the community events. You better call them today. 436-3200, Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Right now, this lady has been a friend of ours for a long time on this radio program, and I always look forward to Thursdays. Here's Rita Ramsey. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you.
Rita, there is just absolutely, I've got about 27 items we can talk about this morning, but let's start with the Trump trip to the Middle East. I'll say this up front, then you can agree or disagree with me. I thought he and his wife, they looked extremely and acted extremely presidential. He said and did some great things on that trip. What are your thoughts?
Well, actually, I wanted to talk about a new recipe I found, and I was going to share it with everybody.
What?
I'm so tired of politics and everything. It's just crazy.
You shocked me when you said that.
I wanted to. Actually, I thought President Trump was very presidential, but it just makes me crazy about the news media, and they just can't absorb it and stomach it, and they're just puking up everything they can think of to say, and how it's all just, you know, he's going to do this and he's going to do that and he's going to be persuaded and he's an idiot and she won't hold his hand, and I mean, it is just absolutely beyond the pale.
Well, you take a couple of onions and you dice them. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong deal. Anyway, I agree with you. You know, I was absolutely incensed, and I commented on this on the radio earlier this week, that ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, they wouldn't even comment or show segments of the speeches that were very, very well done in Saudi Arabia and in Israel, and I thought that was a slap at our entirety of the United States of America.
Well, it was. You didn't ever hear any of this kind of stuff coming from the right when Obama traveled. I mean, we were a little outraged because he and Michelle took separate planes and had to cost twice as much to do it. But, you know, we still respected, okay, if that's what you want to do, and you can go on the apology tour and do all that other kind of stuff. But they are just not going to let it die, and they are doing everything. And the part that's bad about it is you've got probably a good percent of the GOP people in Washington and around Washington siding with the news media on all this crap.
I agree. But let me ask you, when you said fighting about the news media, what were your thoughts about Greg, forgot his last name, Gianforte, the Republican candidate for the special Montana congressional election? I know a little bit more about this story because I've talked to some people in that area, and he was in a private meeting. And during this private meeting, a reporter by the name of Thomas, I believe it is, I'll check that out, Jacobs was his name, he broke into the office, interrupted their conversation, and put a microphone in front of Gianforte's face and demanded that he answer a question. And Gianforte, like I probably would have done, get out of here, and the reporter didn't wait for his time to come into the office, and finally Gianforte just basically body slammed him and said, now get out or I'll do it again. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is one of those deals where you've got a Democrat that's going to be as pushy as he can to go in and make a statement the day before elections. I'm sure that after the elections are over with, we'll find out what really happened. But for right now, nobody's paying attention to anything about the rights of this candidate. They're talking about how he was just horrible, and it made it sound like that they were at an event in the park, and all of a sudden the Republican candidate came down and singled him out and smacked him around, and that's definitely not what happened.
You know, Rita, going back to the Trump trip, I was really impressed with his verbiage, his not backing up on certain subjects, especially in his speech at Saudi Arabia, talking about the Islamic Jihad and how this has got to stop. We can't do everything. You've got to work and help yourselves. And then when he went to Israel, I thought he really solidified our number one ally in the region. And his speech there was just very dynamic about how things had fallen apart with the Obama administration. It's not going to be like that now. I just thought he did a good job, and the left will not give him 1 ounce of credit.
Well, they won't. And in Saudi Arabia, I was just a little bit on fence about him selling arms and stuff to Saudi Arabia. But one thing that I did hear yesterday, of which I heard it late last night as I was going home from work, it was about 8:45, and I did not hear anybody say, oh, by the way, Saudi Arabia said, hey, quit producing fuel, you know, you're going to make our prices go down. And it's kind of like, you know what? No can do. We're going to do what we can to be free from other entities, and we're going to do it.
Absolutely.
Kind of like, oh, shoot. So I think that in the long run, he's his own person, and yet he's making friends and trying to show our goodwill throughout the world with countries that are willing to be our allies.
Earlier this week, the bombing in Manchester, England, and children died, and the world absolutely cried because of the insidious, absolutely worthless ISIS, Islamic Jihad, and now this thing has taken on a life of its own even further, to where now they found 8 accomplices to that bombing, including the father and brother to the bomber, and all these families suffering from their children that died and the injuries. And I'll tell you what, if that doesn't make you fighting mad to stand up and rid the world of these human vermin, nothing does. What are your thoughts?
No, you're exactly right. But the thing that really concerns me is there's an article about the Labour Manchester mayor says that the suicide bomber wasn't a Muslim, and the worst thing that we can do is blame Muslims. They still will not admit that this was a radical Islamist, and we need to fight them. We need to recognize it, and we need to go after the issues. Excuse me, those who are training and traveling back and forth, and you can't tell me that there aren't ways that they can kind of start monitoring this a little bit closer. I think they already are, and then those who do that have their hands somewhat tied. But until we start saying, you know what, this is what we're going to have to face, we better admit what it is, and then we can start fighting it, because there's just one thing after the other that it blossoms into.
You know, before we take that call, do you know how many mosques are in the United States, Rita?
Actually, I have no idea, but there's many, many more times than I ever dreamed.
Oh, I got the facts on this. We looked it up, and there are now 2,800 mosques in the United States. And I didn't know that over 2,200 of those were opened after September 11th, 2001. And by the way, here's another interesting fact. 80% of the Islamic mosques in this country are operated by the Muslim Brotherhood.
Well, it doesn't surprise me, and until we start getting a grip on things and finding out who's coming in here and kind of tailing and watching the ones who are traveling back and forth to be radicalized, we're not going to be able to get this under control. And that even is a stretch of the imagination, because I don't think we're going to be able to get it totally under control.
I agree. Caller, go ahead, please. Quickly, you're on the air.
Yeah, I got a couple things here. One is, tell me one terrorist attack that wasn't caused by a Muslim.
I can't off the cuff give you one.
Yeah, exactly. And so what's the problem? What's the controversy?
What's your question? What's the problem? What's the controversy? The controversy is with the liberal. Wait a minute, Alias. I'm going to answer your question. Wait a minute. You can't talk over me. The controversy, there is none. I mean, it's caused by Muslims. It's a Muslim Islamic jihad. We have protectionist people in this society that won't admit what the problem is, and they won't even study the problem. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And plus, not only that thing in England that just happened, what about the Philippines? Same thing happened there the same day or the next day.
Absolutely.
Nobody says a word about that.
I agree. We'll talk more about that with Rita on the air. Thank you very much for your call. You know, he's right. There is a cover-up and a closed-mouth society in our country because of the liberalness going on, even in Twin Falls, Rita, and it's got to stop. We need to really look into these people, who they are, what they represent, and quite frankly, what they want to do.
That's exactly right, and I think the best place to start is those who are of Muslim faith, and if they insist that it's not Muslims, well, okay, they're not Muslim, but they are radicalized, which makes them Islamists, and those are the ones that need to start rooting out some of these, but they are scared to death because once they start doing it, there is a knife coming across their throat, and it's just ridiculous. I think that President Trump, by saying, you know what, we need to hold off, we need to make sure that we know who's coming in here, just slow down the flow a little bit, because we have a flow of immigrants that is unreal. We've got illegal ones that are coming here, and yes, there probably are some of them that are coming here for a better way of life, but when they get here, they just want to change us into their country they left.
Well, and let me interrupt you right there and say that the assimilation factor and the allegiance factor to our country flag and our Constitution, I'm not reading about it. Are you?
No, absolutely not, and it's just horrible. And then you have the left who's saying it's okay to have them come in. No, we need to let them come in. We need to let them come here and work. And you know, people need them. The dairies need them. Chobani needs them. They need, you know, whatever. Well, okay, that's fine. Let's just make sure who we're getting. But there was that story yesterday, and we knew this long ago, that Obama let in MS-13 members.
Yes.
And they just totally, you know, look at them and go, oh no, these are poor kids from Central and South America and Mexico who are trying to come here for a better life. Yeah, they're males from the age of between about 15 and 22, and they have tattoos on them showing that they're MS-13 members, and it's okay to let them come in, and we'll just send them out into the neighborhoods. Those are the kind of things, along with the Muslim Brotherhood, of which President Obama was affiliated quite heavily with, that it's just kind of like, well, we'll let them in so they can just destroy America. That was their modus operandi.
But by the way, in addition to what you just said, and you really hit the nail on the head, the murder rate, thanks to the MS-13 just absolute worthless vermin that have come in here, the murder rate has gone up 34% on Long Island, New York alone. Thank you, Obama. We really appreciate the bad people that you've let in.
Well, and, you know, we can sit back and say, this happened back east, so, you know, we're kind of protected out here. But that's not the truth. It's going to be here. It's in our neighborhood, just like the Muslims are, and some of these issues with them, and I'm not opposed to them if they're faithful people and if they really are peace-loving. But if they are peace-loving, they've got to do some policing in their own communities. I read an article that said that the concealed carry rate is up 215%, and the murder rate is down 14% during that same period of time.
Right.
So what does that tell you?
One thing I wanted to mention, when you hear these celebrities, so-called celebrities, and I hate using that word, I refuse to call them stars. I mean, they're people, they put their pants on, they got a job. Okay, big deal. But when you hear the idiocy and the mindless statements and shallow statements like this Katy Perry, rock singer, she said yesterday on a radio interview, all we need to do is just love one another more. No borders. Let's everybody go and love each other everywhere and smile more, and that will stop all our problems. What kind of mindless twits are these people?
Kumbaya. You know what? They need to go and join Jerry Brown. And incidentally, that was the thing I wanted to bring up. California is being destroyed, totally destroyed over this health care thing. And they are going to just absolutely ruin anything that any of the people that had a brain in California wanted. And the rest of them, which are the Katy Perry types, are going to be sitting around going, whoa, what happened? Holy cow.
Well, Matt Damon and many, many others of that ilk, Sean Penn, I mean, the list goes on and on, of these absolute destitute of any common sense people using their celebrity and their money to get their point out that we're all wrong and the liberalness is right. You know, most of these people have never even graduated high school, and some that do have high school diplomas, they couldn't make it in college. They weren't smart enough to carry the ball. I am fed up with being listened to, or having to listen to these so-called stars that have the IQ of a hockey puck.
Well, if they were half smart, they would just do their job, make films, and if we were half smart, we wouldn't look at their films because they've turned into political hacks. We need to start using our money and showing them, you know what? We're not really interested in you so much anymore. We want to be entertained. We don't want to be politicized when we watch a movie.
Well, look at what happened to, and all of a sudden his name left me, help me, with the show called Last Man Standing. Used to have Tool Time, and all of a sudden, Tim Allen. Look what happened to him. I mean, he came out with a conservative approach, came out with very conservative ideas and goals. He had every right to speak his mind. Bang! His program, one of the top rated on any show, any network, it's gone.
Yeah, it's really sad, and if these people don't understand that, you know, we are the ones, you and me, and listeners, people who go to movies, people who buy movies, people who buy cable, if we don't use our dollars as our sign of saying this is what we want, we're missing the boat.
Absolutely. I've got to get a weather forecast on here real fast, Rita. I'll be right back. Weather brought to everybody by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, CPAs, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, all of this and so much more, with 2 locations to serve you in Burley and Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. They're waiting to serve you. Here's Scotty with the weather.
Good morning. It is time now for your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson. Well, looks like we're going to get a little front moving in, but today mostly sunny, a high of 64. Wind still going to be blowing. Could see gusts as high as 26 miles an hour. For tonight, 20% chance of showers, expecting a low of 44. Then for tomorrow, 30% chance of showers, a high of 65. Friday night, chance of showers, then mostly clears. Things tend to clear up. Lows around 42. Saturday going to be sunny and 72. Clear on Saturday night, a low of 45, and absolutely beautiful on Sunday. Looking for sunny and a high of 77. That's your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron. Have a great day.
Scotty, thank you much. Well done. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. They are the best serving you as CPAs, helping you and your business, and they really specialize helping people in agriculture, manufacturing, food production. You get a hold of them today. Locations at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Stokes, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Rita, I don't know if you heard about this story or not, but I talked about it in the first hour. A homeowners association in Georgia changed the rules and the regulations, and they told the homeowners, many of them veterans that have served our country in the Marines, Army, Air Force, and Navy, that, here is a list that you have to adhere to. You can only fly your United States flag on these 23 guaranteed days. Other than that, if you fly the flag, you will be liable for a fine and or possible eviction. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, if they actually did change the rules, those people in that area who belong to that homeowners association need to band together and to take them to court over it. Because if that wasn't part of their agreement when they bought properties there, they've got every right to go in and say, wait a minute, you can't change the rules. I guess if they said, well, we're going to do it democratically and we'll have an election and decide how we're going to do this, and the popular vote won, I guess that's a different story. But if it was that way before and they actually changed the rules, they've got a good lawsuit against them, and I would go after them.
I don't want to think that the United States of America has changed to that degree that we have associations and groups of people that are going to legislate and dictate whether or not I can fly my American flag. I don't want to live in that kind of a country, and I'll fight back any way I can.
Well, that's the way that we all should be. And so what the first thing they need to do is petitions need to go out. They need to go door to door asking homeowners, are you opposed to the American flags being flown on days other than these few holidays? And if they aren't opposed to it, then sign this petition, give your address and your phone number, and we're going to turn this into the association and show you that we have the majority and we expect it to change and go back to the way that it was before you decided to take matters into your own hands. The only way that changes are made is when people will get up and scream and holler. Changes are made often by people who have agendas, and they try to do it in the dark of night undercover when nobody will notice and say this is the law. But changes can be made if people will get out and voice their opinions.
I agree. Real quick, Rita, I think you heard probably Wisconsin, my old home state, the first state to say no drug usage. If you are and you're a drug offender, we're going to investigate you on your possible getting Medicaid. We're going to clean up the boat. What are your thoughts?
Actually, I'm totally in favor of that. I think that we need to start screening out. In fact, if we were smart and we wanted to really screen, we would start totally over. I've mentioned this a few years ago.
Yep.
What you do is you start and you say, okay, as of such and such a date, everybody needs to fill out paperwork and be requalified. And we're going to have people that can come to your home if you can't get out and come and do it at the Senior Citizen Center or wherever. We're going to get the senior citizens, the ones who are receiving Social Security. We're going to get them all requalified. Then we're going to go through and we're going to find out who should be on Medicaid and who should be on food stamps and who should be on supplemental housing and everything else, and make sure that they actually do qualify and that they're the real people and they have reason to be drawing those benefits. Because if you don't do it, it's just out of hand, and it is so out of hand now that we are just totally breaking the back of the horses and the mules that carry the weight in this nation.
Well, Rita, if you'll recall on programs 3-4 years ago, I came out and said that there should be a file-by-file, case-by-case study of all the people that are on the government dole, our welfare money, and our tax dollars, and those that are lying and abusing the system, they should be thrown out and forced to go to work and earn a living and become responsible citizens.
Absolutely, and you know, it sounds a little harsh that I would say Social Security, but do you know how many people who are frauds are drawing off the Social Security that should not be, and they're using up the money of those who are supposed to be receiving their benefits because they paid into it for all those years.
Absolutely. Rita, real quick, I got 30 seconds left. Anything else you want to cover this morning, real fast?
I could finish my recipe.
Okay, what is it?
Well, I was just going to tell you about these swirl cream cheese brownies. They sounded really good this morning.
Swirl cream cheese brownies. We will be down at 1 o'clock. Have them on the desk. I'll be there.
Okay, thanks, Zeb.
God bless. Thank you. Ooh, that sounds really good. Swirl cream cheese brownies. Oh, my goodness, and I'm starving to death. What a segue. What a segue into some great places to go if you are hungry and starving to death. Like the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, my goodness, the shrimp and the fries and the fish and chips and the chicken fried steak sandwiches. Have you had one of those? Oh, delicious. And the fries and the special sauce. Oh, all of this and so much more at AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Well, how about Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley? That new pork burrito is a home run with beans, pork, rice, sour cream, and cheese. Oh, it's delicious. And don't forget, too, one of my favorites, the breakfast burrito, scrambled eggs and bacon and sausage and cheese, onions, and tomatoes and sauce. Yup. What a great way to start the day at Taco Bandito. And let's move over to Burgers, etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. Did you know you should? Corn dogs or burritos only 99 cents after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, and coming right now soon, right after Memorial Day, the fresh strawberry shakes. And every Sunday at the Burley location, shrimp dinner only $5.99. Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. Let's move on over now to Steve-O's at 290 South 600 west of Hayburn. And that new, I love this salad, Chaos Salad. Chicken breast with bacon, pickles, jalapeno peppers, and all the goodies. It's delicious. And buffalo burgers and a different soup every day. Great, great people serving you at 290 South 600 west of Hayburn, Steve-O's. And don't forget, last but not least, Doc's Pizza, 514 6th Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, that is the place to go for all the celebrations, all the graduation parties and everything. And I'll tell you what, they've also now got take and bake pizzas at Doc's Pizza. Take them home, bake them up in your own time, and sit there and watch TV. Take your boots off and relax. Oh, my goodness, you got to have it. Doc's Pizza, 514 6th Street in Rupert. And those are just a few great places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. And am I ever. We're going to take a little break for a couple of minutes. And we're going to let Wheels come on in here and drag along behind him CBS News. Coming up next hour, we've got Cassia County School Days and the Business Salute of the Week. And then at 10:32 this morning, we've got a gentleman coming on the air from up in Boise talking about the F-35s at Gowan Field and a lot of the controversy around those jets. We're going to have all of that and more coming up on more Zeb at the Ranch for the last hour. If you're leaving today for Memorial Day, drive carefully. We'll be back in 7 minutes. Oh, crank up that drum set. There you go. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zobelle with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And also some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Got a couple of things I need to mention here real quick. Number 1, Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert invites you to come by anytime, all the public, to visit their facility anytime for tours and check them out. For your loved ones that might need that assisted living center, this is the place. And they make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place. Please call them, stop by, 436-3200, Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center, 924 Christian Way in Rupert. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Want to also remind you that the Minnecasia Relay for Life is going to be Saturday, June 10th, and that's going to be from 11 in the morning until 11 p.m. at night at the Burley High School track. And the theme this year is One Wish, Two Wish, You Wish, I Wish, for a cure. And a very, very worthwhile event, fundraising, and the deadly disease of cancer. Hopefully we can knock it up against the ropes and knock it out once and for all. So once again, Relay for Life on Saturday, June 10th for the Minicash area, 11 to 11, and it's going to be at Burley High School. Don't you miss it, and please support the Relay for Life. Want to also remind you, with a frog in my throat this morning, Redder Showcase 2611 Overland in Burley. The number to call 878-2000, and they're having their annual Memorial Day sale going on right now. Yes, a huge Memorial Day sale, and you'll find great buys on Serta mattresses and box springs. Oh, get a good night's sleep. Get a comfortable good night's sleep and save a lot of money with 12 months, same as cash on approved credit. So please do yourself a favor. Stop in to the annual Memorial Day sale at Redder Showcase 2611 Overland in Burley. They're waiting for you right now. Stop in. You know, we are blessed on this program. Hold on just a second. Hopefully got rid of that frog. We are blessed on this program, and have been for a long, long time, of having a segment on Thursdays called Cache County School Days, put together with all the guests and everything, thanks to Debbie Critchfield, and sponsored by two great businesses, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. And don't forget, at A Child's World, they've got all the baby gifts. Yes, they do. And they've got hundreds and hundreds of new summer dresses, and you can save 20%, and they've got 5-piece suits in all sizes from 12 months to size 20, and they've got the Cherokee scrubs and shoes. All of this and so much more at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And the other sponsor, also Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, number to remember, the number to save money on your outpatient surgeries, 677-8888. That number again, 677-8888. For your life-saving colonoscopies, glaucoma surgery, and many, many more, please call them today. Ambulatory Surgery Center, 677-8888, along with A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cache County. I remember this gentleman that's going to be on with us this morning. He's the Declo Junior High principal, Scott Muir. Scott, how you doing?
I'm good, Zeb. How are you?
If I was any better, the wrong fat man would be wearing my clothes.
Well, I could be that fat man, but I think I've gained a little weight over the long winter and haven't been able to get out as much as I've liked to. So.
Well, I can relate. Listen, you know, I can think back when I left grade school, and of course I'm an old man, and back in Wisconsin we lived in a really rural area, and I attended a 8th grade single room schoolhouse, and I can't imagine to tell you what it was like to leave that 8th grade single room schoolhouse and go to a large high school. The transition was really hard on me, and quite frankly, all my classmates, it was like going to Disneyland. We had no idea where to go first.
Yeah. And got lost probably, just like you're saying. Found yourself to the bathroom quicker than maybe you did the classroom.
There you go. There you go. But it's got to be hard for these kids in a transition, isn't it?
You know what? It is difficult, and it's a big step. I know, you go from the top dog, if you will, at the middle school or the junior high as an 8th grader, and then you step in and you become that lowly freshman at the high school level, and they do arrive without wide eyes and little concerns and nervousness, and especially being nurtured a little bit from here as we do, and they take a big step into the high school.
Is there a better way of doing it? Really, we didn't have any transition whatsoever. I never will forget when we looked on the calendar the first day of high school, and the bus came by and picked us up. We had never ridden a bus before. We'd always had our moms take us, kind of a school pool of moms taking us to the country school. Well, the bus pulls up, and then we get dropped off at the high school for the first time. And I'm telling you, man, I felt like I was in a foreign country.
And you were.
sure.
I was, yeah.
And that's some of the concern. Of course, in Declo, it's a little bit different. You're not jumping into a school like you would be going to Burley with upwards of 1,000 kids. A lot of your teachers rub shoulders with you on a regular basis, including the weekends when you're in a smaller school like this. But it doesn't take away the nervousness of what the expectation is, because students know that as they step into the high school level, it's what counts now. Those grades, those expectations, the performances on and off the athletic fields, the activity fields. It's really important, and they know that the pressure is going to be there, and it does. It becomes a stress. And so as a middle school principal and a high school principal, as we try to get together, Mr. Bott and I, and discuss some of the things that would make that transition much more easy, or easier, better said, it is a fight, but there's so many things that we do, and of course, there's a lot of good things we can do to improve upon as well, and he and I have talked about a few of those things, and would love to share those with you.
Yeah, go ahead and kind of give us a litany of what you think should and could be done to make it a little easier for these kids.
Yeah. Well, of course, we take the kids over, and I think every middle school does this with a high school, and I know every elementary probably does it with a middle school. When kids transition to the schools, we take them over there, and we set them down, and we give them a little conversation, and the rah-rah, hey, we want you to be involved, it's good to be involved. In a small school like the Declo schools, you can be a three-sport person and participate in the choir and the band and do a lot of those things. It's just the need is there, and so they really purposely try to do that. But that little program there is, it's probably about an hour. We tour the building, but it's not the same. It doesn't take away that nervousness of first day school. So Mr. Bott and I spoke a little bit this year, and there's nothing set in stone yet, but it's an idea. It's at the idea stage. We've talked about maybe towards the end of the school year, when the seniors are maybe at Lagoon for their senior day, that we take each of the grade levels and we move them up for a day. So juniors become seniors, sophomores become juniors. We can actually take those 8th graders, move them to the freshman level, and let them spend a day with teachers through a routine process, getting to know those teachers, just kind of dialoguing with them and giving them a full day over there instead of an hour here or there that they may use. And would that create less nervousness? I would hope so. I don't know if it takes away everything, but that's an idea that he and I have been kicking around to see if there's something we could do to incorporate some of that.
I like that a lot. I like that idea. You know, the big problem I had looking back on my high school days, and that was eons ago, was the fact that you go in and they had the first morning, everybody went into the gym, and the principal, they got up and they talked about this, that, and everything, and then they said, when the bell rings, go to your first class. Okay, where is the doggone thing?
Right. And so open houses, we do that. I know at the middle level, we've correlated with the elementary school here. Middle school is such a different bird and beast in and of itself. And I want to make sure, excuse me, I get this in. Middle school is probably as important, and in my mind as an administrator, even a little bit more important, that parents stay involved in their kids' lives during middle school. It seems that for whatever reason, parents kind of drop off. You know, they're really actively engaged with their students at the elementary school. They're the same at the high school level through their athletics and everything like that, booster clubs and, fundraisers and things that they're doing. I got home last night at 2 a.m. for senior night. My son graduated, and so parents are really involved over there. For some reason, they drop off at the middle level, and it's really the most important time for parents to be a part of their students' lives, because you talk about the physiological changes. This is now when the students start to explore who they are, what they want to be. Peers become far more important to them than family and parents. I always joke with my 6th grade parents, you drop your son off at the elementary school for the first 5 years. He leans over this car seat, gives you a kiss and a hug, says, I love you, and walks out. Nowadays, it's, hey, can you drop me off at the high school? I don't want to see my friends. I don't want my friends to see me give you a hug and a kiss.
Yeah.
Drop me off there, I'll get out of the car and I'll walk the rest of the way. And so that becomes a different burden. And there's a lot of transitions that they go through at the middle level, and that's why this area, this time is so important and vital for parents to be involved. I kind of got away from the question, Zeb, but I think that that's part of that transition stuff, that parents need to be aware of. This is a time when kids really need their parents in their lives, and they're making those decisions that are going to really form decisions that they're going to have for the rest of their lives as well.
What's wrong, and I would have liked this, I mean, what's wrong with getting the parents involved in the first day of school anywhere, any level? I've never been ashamed of my mom and dad. I've never been ashamed to have them with me. I've never been ashamed to have them be involved in my education when I was younger. But I don't mean to sound critical, but today it seems like more parents are shuffling on that responsibility.
Yeah, and you're always going to have your parents that are 100% engaged and involved, and then unfortunately you have those parents that are struggling, working 2 shifts, 2 jobs, whatever it may be, to keep food on the table. And so that becomes a real challenge for any school, is how do we get the parent involvement up? We talk about that regularly at our district meetings. We talk about that, trying to get more involvement. You know, we want parents to be involved through the PTO and help us with fundraising. But I'm always going to continue to say that at the middle school level, and I know this is at every school, the door is open. We would love to have parents come in and sit and be in the classroom. Be in the classroom with the teacher, listen to the instruction. That way they may understand a little bit more of what is expected of the child in the classroom and outside of the classroom. We welcome that. I would love to have a parent day where they did shadow their students, and some would do that. Maybe we ought to have it the reverse. Instead of shadow your dad on career day, you shadow your child in school day.
Yes.
And go through that process. It's a great idea, and it's something we can certainly talk about.
Let me ask you, we've only got about 3 minutes left here, but quickly respond to this, and we'll have to have you back. But, you know, there are various cliques and groupings of kids in school. When you go to a larger high school, naturally your city kids have known each other for a long period of time. Well, in walks Mr. Farmer or Mr. Rural, and he doesn't associate with anybody at that high school. That's a tough deal on kids.
Yeah, it is. It is, and you know, that's the reality of it. I think that's where the teacher is so vital. When you've got teachers that really care, counselors, programs set up. As an example, we've had our previous counselor and our counselor this year. We have a week that we call Kindness Week, and where we really try to treat everybody appropriately and respectfully and with kindness. My student council is an example. They try to post something on everyone's locker. So, and we're small. We're 240, 50 kids. But the student council really likes to go on, and they create these little pieces of paper. We tape them to each individual locker of the student, and it describes something that student is good at doing, whether it be writing or singing or playing the piano or sports or whatever the case may be, good at math. And so as you walk down our hallways, it's kind of a messy-looking hallway, but it's got a positive thing about almost every student on their locker, so that they open that locker, and as they're opening the combination, they see information like that. Programs like that are important, especially nowadays where we've got such high suicide rates, bullying problems, and those types of issues. When you can bring that no-tolerance understanding into a school and change it to a kindness idea, smile. Give somebody a smile each day. We try to do some of those things and make it a positive area.
I can guarantee you, Scott Muir, nobody ever put a piece of paper on my locker that said good at math.
Yeah. Yeah. So and that like you said, covers everybody. I may not be as good at football as Mr. Bott is down the road, but I can certainly hold my own in math, and that's a positive that I have. And so trying to dig out the positive. And again, that goes back to teachers too.
Absolutely.
Teachers need to continue to get to know each individual student, and it's tough with all the expectations on their plate nowadays. But really, when you come down to it, that's what teaching is getting to know the student and helping them through the process.
You know, I absolutely marvel at the wonderful people that are in education in Cassia County, you being one of them. And I really appreciate this program because I learn a lot about what's going on. And I thank you, Scott Muir, the principal of Declo Junior High. Have a wonderful Memorial Day and a great summer, and thanks, and come back again.
I will. Thank you, Zeb. We really appreciate you and giving up your time for this as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. God bless. Thank you very much. Really nice people that know what's going on, and I salute this man. He's been on my program before. Scott Muir, with the being the principal at Declo Junior High School. They really care about your kids. They really, really do. That program, of course, brought to you by our friends, and that's, of course, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley and the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, 677-8888. Hey, don't forget Vicky's Country Garden on Mondays at 9:15. Gardening for Idiots, named after me. I'm not much of a gardener, but by golly, she can teach anybody. And I'll tell you what, they're celebrating 20 years in business. Vicky's Country Garden, absolutely the best. 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call 438-5663. It's time for our business salute. Drum-da-dum. I'm too cheap to really hire a band and have the drums and the horns, but we're going to say good morning to Barry. You haven't got him on? Well, hurry. And we're going to say good morning to Juan in just a minute over at Barry Equipment and Rental. While we're waiting, I'll quickly tell everybody that Ag Express is looking for drivers. Yes, they are. Full and part-time positions. Retired folks are welcome, and they'll work around your schedule. Maybe it's only 2 or 3 days a week, whatever works best for you. You're home every night, new and maintained equipment, vacation programs, benefits including major medical, dental, and vision, 401k plans. Oh my. You better call Dale and Paul 438-8886, Allen in Twin Falls 731-2495, and Russ in Burley at 431-7175. Ag Express is looking for drivers. Ag Express is looking for you. Right now, let's go via the phone to Barry Equipment and Rental in Burley at 159 West Highway 30. Hello, Juan.
How's it going?
We are busy, just like you are. And what are we going to highlight today at Barry Equipment and Rental?
Well, now that that big yellow heater in the sky is working, we have all our machines ready to go. You need to prune your trees, we got man lifts. You need to clean some corrals, we got skidsters. And we have anything you need.
You know, one of the things I was going to ask you about, you got the Bobcat excavators. They come in all shapes and sizes, and, how do you know under the circumstances what they need when they come in to talk about a piece of equipment? How do you get that all figured out?
Oh, we just need to figure out what you're digging. If you want to do some foundation work, our E35 is the best way to go. And if you want to go with something bigger, you need to dig a big hole or a big trench. Our E50 is up and ready, and it carries up to a 3-foot bucket.
Wow. And at the Burley location at 159 West Highway 30, you and I have talked about this and laughed about it and joked about it. You got a great big sandbox out behind to take somebody that's really dumb on how to run equipment like me, and you can have me running like a pro, right?
It's wide open, so you don't have to worry about hitting nobody's car or hitting the building. So you can go ahead, get on the controls, and we'll help you figure it out.
Well, tell me a little bit. I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but tell me a little bit about all the equipment that you have for the various jobs. Kind of give us a synopsis of all that's available at Barry Equipment and Rental.
Well, we have anything, pretty much everything. Like we were talking about, we have our skidsters and excavators, of course, to help you dig and move dirt, but we also have the air compressors that come along with jackhammers. We got cement mixers. We got the do-it-yourself equipment, such as trenchers, these small trenchers that you just walk behind. We have mini skids, little mini skidsters that you also just walk behind for your very, very little jobs. And we also have warehouse forklifts, small telehandlers, whatever you need.
Oh, my goodness. Now, all of these items are either available to rent or to purchase. Is that correct?
Absolutely. everything here but our cat is for sale.
Okay. What is the name of the cat?
Bob
the cat. Okay. Now, when they come in and they want to rent some equipment, I mean, what do they need to know as far as renting the equipment? Do they need to know exactly how many hours they're going to have it, or give us kind of an explanation on that?
Yeah, we have different time schedules. So if you only need it for 4 hours, we got the 4-hour minimum, only a half day. We know that some jobs don't take full day, but if you need it for the full day or a couple weeks, we have every single rate for every single type of time frame that you'll need it.
Oh, my goodness. And also the retail equipment sales. Go ahead and give us a little shot about that.
Well, currently right now that I can't stop ranting and raving about is our Model S14 walker mower.
Uh-huh.
The Subaru engine's been doing great for it, and they actually made a new deal. So instead of only getting a 3-year warranty on the engine, they bumped it up to 5.
Oh, my.
Right now, on that mower, we have 0% finance, or 0% on 48 months if you finance it.
Oh, my goodness. Now, these walker mowers, they are the creme de la creme. They're the team of the top, right?
Right. Absolutely. They're easy to work on, easy to run, and they're a pretty well-built machine.
Okay. Now, tell everybody where the 3 locations of Berry Equipment and Rental are located.
We got the one in Twin Falls off 465 Addison Avenue in Twin Falls, and then we also got our Jerome location off of the second exit there off of Lincoln Street. And the best location, in my opinion, was 159 West Highway 30 here in Burley, Idaho.
I like this guy. They have all the equipment to get the job done right. That's not bragging, that's a fact. Juan, doggone it, you're a good guy. Have a wonderful, safe Memorial Day weekend. Come back and visit with us soon.
Absolutely, will do. You have a great weekend as well.
All right, thank you very much. Nice people at Berry Equipment and Rental. Sales, service, and parts. Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Really good people. Let me see where I'm at here right now. We are going to send it back over to our main studios for a break at the bottom of the hour, and then we're going to come back with Mr. Bill Schauber, and we're going to be talking about the F-35s at Gowan Airfield. So kind of a controversial story. We'll find out more from him. And then, of course, we're going to wrap it up this week, and we're going to tell you, be safe, be sane, be careful on Memorial Day weekend. Right now, Wheels, if you would, take it away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, thank you very much, and welcome back to our last half hour for Zeb at the Ranch before Memorial Day weekend. And I'm very honored to have the next gentleman on the program to talk about the F-35 jets at Gowan Field. Bill Schauber, Boise, Idaho. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Zeb. Hey, thanks for the chance to talk this morning.
You know, Bill, I really don't know that much about you, your background, or titles, and I feel I need to really take some time and find out more about you as a spokesman. What is your title? What basically is your connection to this story?
Well, my connection is I spent 38 years in the Air Force and the Air National Guard and retired as the commander of the Air Guard. And then spent another, the last 5 years of that career, I was the director of Homeland Security for the state. And then about 4.5 years ago, I came to work for Idaho Power as their director of corporate communications and marketing. So I was appointed by Governor Otter to the Idaho Military Advocacy Commission, which was created by executive order back in 2015. And that commission is to look at the military presence, regardless of service, around the state, and advocate for the support of the men and women that wear the uniforms of our state and nation.
Absolutely, boy, that was very well stated. Okay, so the story is F-35s going to Gowan Field. Bring us kind of a synopsis of how big a deal this really is for the state of Idaho.
Well, you know, it's a big deal, Zeb. The Idaho Air National Guard has been out at Gowan Field since 1946, so a little over 71 years of service, flying 9 different fighter aircraft. And Gowan Field, specifically the Idaho Air National Guard, creates 2,800 jobs, both direct, indirect, and induced, and $155 million of annual economic impact here in the valley and around the state. So ensuring that Gowan Field is a key player in our national security objectives for decades to come. Replacing the A-10 at some point is an Air Force decision, and the F-35 is the aircraft that has been designated as that replacement. And there are currently 5 states that are under consideration for this round of basing. And this round of basing will be at 2 of these 5 states, and they will go to 2 Air National Guard sites. So Florida, Alabama, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Idaho are the states that are under consideration, and again, 2 of those states will be selected. The assets that the United States Air Force and the Idaho Air National Guard currently possess inside the state are national treasures. The Sailor Creek Air Force, or the range out south of Mountain Home Air Force Base, is a national asset. The facilities, the 500-plus acres inside the fence at Gowan Field, are world-class assets. There is certainly infrastructure there to support the A-10 moving forward, and those are investments that taxpayers have already made, and those that range is in place. The facilities at Gowan Field here in Boise are in place, and it's a natural fit for the Air Force to consider, and we hope ultimately place the F-35 at Gowan Field.
Now, let me ask you this, Bill, because I'm really a neophyte, and I am not well-versed at all in what's going on up here at Gowan Field. I was aware that there was a chance they might be selected. But what does the criteria demand as far as site selection? What are they looking for from the various states, and how is the final choice going to be made?
So the Air Force has selected these 5 sites. There's currently 18 fighter wings in the Air National Guard nationally. So the Air Force wants a process that's repeatable, transparent, and defendable going forward. So the bases will be evaluated on the types of facilities that they currently have, the types of airspace that is available for the air crews to train in. They will look at military value. That is, how do the communities support the men and women that wear the uniforms of the National Guard in those 5 states? So they previously looked at Boise in a round when the Air Force was looking for a training site, so they knew that Gowan Field has these phenomenal assets and should be a finalist in the selection process. So an Air Force team will come out later this year. They will evaluate and score the facilities based on the criteria that we just talked about at a high level. Then at late summer, early fall, we anticipate that 2 sites will be selected, and that decision will ultimately be made by the Secretary of the Air Force. And then at that time, environmental impact statement processes, the EIS process will begin. The public will have an opportunity to comment, and then ultimately down road ways we'll see a record of decision, and hopefully we'll see F-35s end up on the ramp here in Boise in 2021-2022 timeframe.
Okay, now I need to ask this question right now because I am not an airplane or plane or jet aficionado. You're the expert. What makes the F-35 so valuable to having at Gowan Field?
Well, first off, the F-35 is a 5th-generation fighter, and if you think about the aircraft that the Air Force currently flies, the F-35 has the technology that allows our country, should we become involved in an away game, because nobody wants to play a home game when you're talking about the defense of our nation. We will always want to play an away game. So the technology that allows the United States Air Force and this country to maintain air superiority and air dominance over any threat that may come our way, the F-35 is a key component to answering that threat. The Idaho Air National Guard specifically has a phenomenal history. If you go back and look at what that organization and our 124th Fighter Wing at Gowan Field has done, from the early days in 1946, from the 70s to the early 90s, they were in the reconnaissance business, the RF-4 aircraft, and then the F-4G that provided suppression of enemy air defenses, clearing the way for the Air Force to come in and do what they need to do to ensure that we had air superiority and our ground troops had the cover that they needed. It's vital that the Air National Guard be equipped with the same type of aircraft that our active Air Force component is, because we're a operational reserve of the Air Force, and we're used daily in providing the defense of this great country, and certainly a presence here in the state of Idaho.
You know, Bill, let me ask you this question again with my naivete, but why Gowan Field in place of or in respect of Hill Air Force Base, but Mountain Home Air Force Base?
Zeb, that's a great question. So again, this round of basing, the Air Force has determined we need 2 Air National Guard sites to bed down this F-35. So it's not even a consideration to put it at Mountain Home with the active duty Air Force. My personal opinion is that Mountain Home will get F-35s downstream just because of the phenomenal assets and the airspace that they have there. But the Air Force is determined, it goes back to my previous statement, the Air National Guard needs to be equipped to fly and train with the same aircraft that the active duty Air Force flies. So we just came back from Washington, D.C., actually yesterday, but in a previous meeting a couple of months ago, we're told by a senior Air Force member that they just took a hard look at Idaho. And they looked at the facilities here at Gowan Field in Boise, and they looked at the facilities that currently exist at Mountain Home. They said, you know, if we were to replicate the facilities that the Air National Guard has in Boise and replicate those at Mountain Home Air Force Base, there would be about a $400 million bill to build those facilities to allow the Air National Guard to take that mission to Mountain Home Air Force Base. So from a taxpayer perspective, that investment has already been made here in Boise. It exists today. And having the Air National Guard, frankly, Zeb, the Air National Guard is a citizen militia. It's made up of 50 to 75% of their folks are folks that work in our local communities. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're police, they're school teachers, they're construction workers, and then they put on the uniform of our state and nation to carry out that oath that they took. And the Air National Guard really connects Main Street USA to our military. God bless our active duty folks that are inside the gate over at Mountain Home here in Idaho. You know, they're here for 2.5 years, and they rotate out. Those folks that join the Idaho Air National Guard, they put in there's deep roots. They live here, they work here. This is their home. So the Air National Guard connects the zip codes of Idaho and the zip codes of America to our national security objectives, and that is so key moving forward, having the public support of what our men and women do as they carry out the defense of this great nation.
You know, it sounds to me, again, being a neophyte when it comes to knowledge on this subject, that when you look south at Ogden, Utah, at Hill Air Force Base, and then look to Mountain Home and then Gowan Field, a highly militarized, if you will, zone of protection for the complete Intermountain West. Would that be a fair statement?
Well, you know, Zeb, I will tell you that probably what makes the most sense is the proximity of the unrestricted airspace, the facilities that are here. You know, the Air Force through Northern Command, they have the specific air defense of our nation is done by other units. primarily the F-35 and the role that it would play here, both at Boise and what it currently plays at Hill Air Force Base, is to ensure that we have air superiority and air dominance over any foe that may present a threat to this nation, preferably, again, in an away game, not a home game.
Right.
But I like the way you think. Yes, having those aircraft here makes wonderful sense in the Northwest, but primarily we're looking at air superiority and air dominance to carry out the national security objectives of this nation.
You know, Bill, I need to also be fair. I mean, I've read stories about the F-35 coming to Gowan Field, and with every story, I try to present at least the other side of the issue. I may be very critical of the other side of the issue, but I'm very blunt. There are some people that don't want to see the F-35 go to Gowan Field. Why don't you be up front and tell everybody what are some of the problems with bringing the jet in, according to some of the naysayers?
Well, Zeb, that's a fair question, and it's certainly a question of transparency. So there are a number of folks here in the Valley, here in Boise, that are primarily opposed to the F-35 because of the noise. If you go back and look at the history of the Idaho Air Guard and being stationed at Gowan Field, which is co-located with the city airport here, there's been 9 different fighter aircraft at Gowan Field in the past, and the majority of those aircraft have been afterburning aircraft, so they're louder. There's more noise. And the F-4s that were here from 1974 to 1996 were a dual-engine afterburning aircraft, made a lot of noise. But they were flying here for 20-some years. When the A-10 came in, the A-10 is a much quieter aircraft. It is not an afterburning aircraft, and it's a lot less noisy. So there are folks that haven't been around for the 21 years that there haven't been afterburning aircraft in the pattern here. But I will tell you that I made the statement earlier that the folks that fly that A-10 are folks that live and work in this community. Their kids go to the same schools. They live in the same neighborhoods. So there are lots of things that can be done, just as there was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, that can mitigate noise. We're talking about 10 minutes of audible noise mid-morning, Monday through Friday, 10 minutes in the afternoon on takeoff and return. There are things that can be done from a operational perspective as the aircraft take off, various departure moves that can be made. And I'll also tell you that there are navigation easements on the majority of the homes around the airport. Airports are noisy by nature. But the opposition, who primarily was not here when the Guard was flying an afterburning aircraft, are used to the A-10s, and it's true. They're noisy. The F-35s are noisy. But again, we've been here before, and we'll be here for decades to come, and we will continue to be good neighbors, good stewards of the environment, and do everything that we can do to mitigate the impact of noise on those communities that have built around the airport over the years.
When do you think the decision will be finalized, Bill, as far as knowing that they may be coming to Gowan Field?
Well, I think given what we know today, and you know the status of Washington, D.C. right now, that state of flux that things seem to be in. But given the timeline that we know today, my guess is that there will be a decision late summer, early fall. And that's current as of today. You know, things could change tomorrow and next week, but the glide slope that we're on is late summer, early fall in terms of knowing that Boise will be selected, and then that EIS process will begin. And again, we probably wouldn't see jets arrive if this timeline stays static. We probably wouldn't see F-35s arrive till about 2021, 2022 timeframe.
I see. Is there anything else about this story that I need to highlight and we need to feature this morning? I'll turn the ball over to you. Go ahead, Bill, if there's anything we've missed.
Well, Zeb, I appreciate what you have done in helping to educate your listeners on what's going on with the defense of our nation and the importance of the Idaho Air National Guard. I would ask for those that are supportive of bringing the F-35 to Idaho, ensuring our relevance for decades to come on the national security objectives, that you go to gowanstrong.com to learn more about the F-35, what it means to Boise, and what it means to the greater state of Idaho. And I would encourage you to write letters of support to your local newspapers, to share information on social media, and to just support the men and women that wear the uniform of our state and nation as they position themselves to hopefully be the home of the first F-35s to come to Idaho.
Very well stated, and I'm very appreciative to Representative Clark Kaufman for providing your name and number to get you on my program. Bill, you're welcome anytime. Please stay in touch. We'll have you back on in the future.
Sounds good, Zeb, and thank you for this opportunity.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Bill Shawver, and talking about the F-35 jet's possibility of coming to a new home at Gowan Field up in Boise. Thank you very much. We've got to have a weather forecast here. My goodness, I'm running a little bit late this morning, and I want to remind you the weather this hour brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew. Number to call, 324-7657. And delicious breakfast sausages, bratwurst, and buckboard bacon, a new kind of bacon, leaner and more economical, and delicious flavors. Oh, my goodness, you better check it out today. All you have to do is call or stop in. 324-7657, Scarro's Meats, located at 331 North Road, Jerome. And right now, here's Scotty with the weather.
Good morning. It is time now for your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. Scotty Cameron sitting in for Gina Jameson. Well, looks like we're going to get a little front moving in, but today mostly sunny, a high of 64. Wind still going to be blowing. Could see gusts as high as 26 miles an hour. For tonight, 20% chance of showers, expecting a low of 44. Then for tomorrow, 30% chance of showers, a high of 65. Friday night, chance of showers, then mostly clears. Things tend to clear up. Lows around 42. Saturday going to be sunny and 72. Clear on Saturday night, a low of 45, and absolutely beautiful on Sunday. Looking for sunny and a high of 77. That's your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron. Have a great day.
Thank you, Scotty. Appreciate it. And the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. It's true. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. You know, I'm going to take a little time here and remind you about some things that are coming up and very important tonight at, let's see, room 277 at the College of Southern Idaho's Taylor Building. There's going to be a DVD played called The Grinding Down of America. That's going to be at 7 p.m. tonight at CSI's Taylor Building. And come learn how you can help restore our constitutional republic. And Adrian, thank you for that note. Then I want to remind you that on June 3rd and 4th at the Cassia County Fairgrounds, the Minnecasia Auto Collectors Car Show. Jimmy's going to be on the air this next week. Jimmy Flowers, we're going to talk about this. It's the 31st annual car show, June 3rd and 4th, Cassia County Fairgrounds, and they are going to have a ripping good time with cars of every vintage. We're going to be talking about Corvettes, Mustangs, street rods, street originals, pickups. I mean, you name it, it's going to be there at the Minnecasia Auto Collectors 31st annual car show at the Cassia County Fairgrounds, June 3 and 4. And last but not least, coming up on this coming Saturday, the 3rd annual Idaho Roll Call Memorial Ride and tribute program at the site itself. First of all, the 3rd annual Idaho Roll Call Memorial Ride, sponsored by the Rupert Veterans Memorial, the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, and the City of Rupert. Now, all the bikers are going to meet at Let's Ride in Rupert at 9:30 in the morning on Saturday to ride and support our fallen soldiers. And then, after that ride, everybody's going to meet at the Idaho Roll Call Monument at 7th and Scott Streets in Rupert for the memorial program and a little bite to eat. By golly, it's going to be good. That's going to be at 1 p.m. For more information, contact George Mass at 650-0104. That's coming up on this Saturday. While I have a moment, I also want to say thank you. Thank you to our major sponsor of Zeb at the Ranch, and that's, of course, our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Get where you're going safely this summer on tires that really will do the job for you. They've got all the tires for your pickups and SUVs, your cars, trailers, etc. And don't forget to ask them about a free pre-trip safety check. A visual inspection of your tires, including the air pressure, wheel alignment, tire wear, front-end components, brake components, shocks and struts, battery. I'm telling you what, they'll check it out to make sure that you have a safe driving vacation. So stop in and see all 7 locations ready to serve you. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley, wishing you a very safe, sane Memorial Day weekend. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I want to wish you the same. I just really hope and pray that all of you are extremely careful. All of you have a good time. I hope that whether you're going to a family barbecue or a picnic or you're going to do something with the family or you got to travel someplace, think caution. Think carefully about everything you do. Be careful out there and be back again listening on the program. I am not going to be here next Monday, naturally, Memorial Day. And Wheels is smiling like a Cheshire cat. He can't wait to have a great big 3-day or 4-day weekend. But we'll be back on Tuesday next week, which will be the 30th of May. And we'll be back in the saddle again. Let's see, I had something else I wanted to mention to you. But be careful out there and enjoy the weekend. And whatever you're doing, just take the radio with you, K-Bar 1230 AM. And then, of course, Zeb at the Ranch, streaming live on the Internet all over the world, Zobelle.com. And we'll be back next Tuesday at 8:06 for another Zeb at the Ranch program where we always say when we wrap up the show, the way things were are the way things ought to be. Wheels, you have a Jim Dandy weekend. God bless you, young man. And everybody be safe out there. Take it away, buddy.